William Witham, Chief Executive Officer of the Australia Africa Minerals and Energy Group, AAMEG.
Good afternoon, everybody, and likewise, thanks for attending this session, the last session of the day. Every year I get given a spot at ADU to speak, and as for those that were there last night, we had a very successful awards session, and I'll use this spot today just to reiterate what AAMEG's about for those that don't know, and just basically review the year and let you know what we're about. Today's talk, I'm just going to run through who we are, what's happened in 2021, just focus on who our board is and how the direction comes from. I'm just going to focus in on our core strategic areas at the moment and just highlight some of our recent achievements. AAMEG is all very much about putting people first and our members first, and we have over 100 members, so everyone has their own issues and problems, but so we're very much here to help everybody. There are a lot of generic problems which we work on, which you'd all be aware of, which we then advocate to Australian, state and African governments. AAMEG was founded 10 years ago, based around on ESG issues. And I guess, as we said in our 10th anniversary, we were ESG before it was trendy to be so. So certainly that is still the basis of AAMEG, recognising the great work that our companies do, and also prosecuting that it's important to do it into the future. Very big on collaboration. We have a lot of events, and a lot of the power of AAMEG comes through those networks and those connections that we make. We have quite a number of working groups, and if any of you are interested in joining AAMEG or a part of AAMEG, we're always renewing those groups. We have an ESG forum, we have a legal and tax group, security working group, and that's a great way to get involved and a way to solve issues. I'm also proud of our new website. That's a snapshot there of the new website, just started in June. We spent a bit of money on it, and it's a fantastic database of material. We have over 700 pieces, which are all searchable through the history of AAMEG, but one of the main jobs to do is to make sure that it remains relevant, any new pieces are put in there. So I direct you all to the AAMEG website if you're after some certain material. For members, there's a paywall, so for members they get access to exclusive information, but there is some general information there as well for the general public. Just the main points there, as I said, we've got strong membership. Through COVID, we were quite concerned that we would have a drop-off in membership, but in fact it's the opposite occurred. I think being somewhat a virtual network has been a good thing through COVID, and our financials have improved, even though we are spending more money on projects and advocacy. We're holding at least averaging one event a week over the year, so a lot of people find them useful. And if you also have ideas for a seminar, I'm very happy to do it. For example, one on hybrid power and hydrogen and solar would be something I'd like to do quite soon. And as Peter just pointed out, something like that where you're saving money and hitting your ESG targets is definitely something we're interested in. Some of the working groups are, the ESG forum is something where we're looking at evolving issues and trends, and we have these things called real ESG nights where we have 2 or 3 people speak every night about a project they're actually doing on the ground. We've had a training school in Burkina Faso, a health app in Zimbabwe. So those sort of things that people like to hear what's happening right now on the ground in Africa, especially during COVID. And they are really fantastic nights where people network. We also have our issues and policy challenges, as you know, would have been, you might have seen me yesterday asking the Minister around issues around exemptions, quarantine and travel. That's obviously something that's very central to what AAMEG's doing at the moment, making sure that our members can continue to operate in this tricky environment. But we're also part of the BPN. There is the Bribery Prevention Network, and for those that were there last week, we launched that so AAMEG is a founding partner of that with the Australian Federal Police, the Commonwealth Department of Prosecutions, the DPP, Commonwealth Bank, KPMG and a few others. So that's quite a good kudos for AAMEG. We're representing SMEs across Australia in terms of the changes to anti-bribery and corruption laws. And for those that don't know, they are about to change again. So again, if you want to know those legislative changes that you need to be aware of, please contact us. And as I mentioned there, the COVID-19 response, just working together with our members to help them get through it, coordinating. A lot of our members are chartering aircraft, and we play a bit of a role in helping people get onto those planes, getting permits, getting out of the country, etc. So that's a sort of more pragmatic thing we do. Just focusing down on what we're trying to do. As I said, advocacy is very important. Very hard in this environment, but I've made 2 trips to Canberra this year, which were both very useful in terms of prosecuting our case to the federal government and making them realise that there is a very important Australian industry that is connected to Africa, and people need to come and go, and it does bring a lot of money and soft power, if you like, in terms of dealing with Africa. You might have seen in the West Australian on Saturday's paper that FIFO ISO hub plan for the Northwest. AAMEG was part of that proposal. So at the moment we do have a running advocacy campaign, if you like, together with the Chamber of Mines and AAMEG, in terms of putting a lot of pressure on the government to understand that these caps are hurting us, and we need to have some solutions quickly. Insights, I think I've touched on that a little bit. We try and provide insights of where things are happening, where the trends in government are, trends in industry. And as I said, our website's a very good place for looking at some of those papers. And the connections, as again, really important. People like being part of the AAMEG family. We had a very successful 10th anniversary dinner back in June at the State Centre convention. Fraser's Restaurant. That was a very good night. As I mentioned, the Real SG nights, Bribery Prevention Network. Our sundowners every month are very well attended. So I recommend you all get along to those if you haven't already. They're usually on the first Thursday of every month and are sponsored, and a great way to connect with people. Looking towards 2022, hopefully, I actually probably copied that from my slide from last year, but return to semi-normal travel. Again, just working on the vaccinations, I guess we've got an answer to that now. Home quarantine we feel is very important and should be the next step for at least anyone that's fully vaccinated should be able to quarantine at home, be they coming back from overseas or interstate. Pushing very hard for, again, a lifting of the travel caps, or at least allowing the caps to be lifted for travel for our members. And also we're coordinating, we're very happy to be close to Qatar Airways, who are an industry sponsor of AAMEG, and looking for that smooth transition back to commercial air travel and get the numbers back up again. One of the areas that we've got to pay particular attention to is keeping our ties strong with Africa through COVID. And when I go to Canberra, I make sure that I see as many of the ambassadors and that as I can. And you may have seen a couple of our webinars where we've supported countries such as Ethiopia and Algeria. And certainly without being able to go to Indaba and those sorts of events, it's important for us to keep those contacts going. So that's a big part of what we'll be doing for the next few years. And also just looking to expand the AAMEG Awards. I think not only are they a great night and a good way for companies to focus on the good things they do, but it helps us explain what we are doing, what the Australian mining industry does well, and giving those case histories that allow us to lobby for all those things I was talking about before, and to show the work that's being done. It's not just all about making money. Just a quick thank you to the board members. The board meets most months. We meet about 8 or 9 times a year. And we do have our AGM coming up in November. So if anybody would like to be a director of AAMEG, will be a call for nominations next week. So the board at the moment is well led by Peter DeLeo. Peter is the managing director of Lycopodium, you can see there. And I won't read out all the names, but fantastic board, a lot of leaders in the industry there and CEOs of companies. But they do make the time to be part of AAMEG, and with that sort of board, you actually do have quite a bit of street cred when you're trying to help your members. So yeah, just wrapping up, I'd like to very much thank our platinum members, Base Resources, Lycopodium, MaxGeo, who, for those who don't know, is a new platinum member of AAMEG and a database management company. Paydirt, of course, the Parenti Global Group, which formerly known as Ausdrill, very fantastic member, and Perseus as well, a gold miner in West Africa. And our industry partners, who's ATPI, who's our travel partner, PKF, who provide all our accounting and auditing services, the Minerals Council of Australia, who sponsor a lot of what we do, and we're a member of them and they're a member of us, so very pleased to have them on board, and Woods Insurance Brokers as well. So thanks very much for listening, and if you're not yet a member of AAMEG, please feel free to contact myself or Sarah in our booth, at number 1 booth down the corridor. Thanks very much.